Dag Sandvik, welcome to Ekstremsportveko podcast.
Thank you.
How's life?
Life is amazing.
Nice to hear. So we're sitting here in your new house in Voss.
Mm-hmm.
So when did you move in here?
I moved here in late October.
Yeah.
So it's still pretty new for me. Enjoying
Nice.
figuring out where stuff is.
That's good. You had a long career as a kayaker and is a local legend in Voss, and is known for many people, and probably is like very synonymous with the word Ekstremsportveko and Voss.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about how you started with kayaking?
Yeah, I can. Well, I guess my brother was pretty important because he started kayaking when he was going to this outdoor school in Norway called Folkehøgskole, which a lot of people do when they're around 19, 20.
Yeah.
So he got kind of introduced to the sport, and we saw him play around. So me and my cousin then thought that, we want to do this. So we got some used, not car tires, but inner tubes from some cars.
Yeah.
And or maybe a tractor, I don't know what it was, but yeah, that stuff. And inflated it as much as we could, put on some rollerblader helmets and random life jackets, and then we jumped in the river and started swimming. So that was kind of the start of it, I guess.
Yeah. And how did that go?
Great, I would say. It was a lot of fun. Apparently, we asked for some advice, and they say, well, sure, you probably would be safe if you float down here. Or
Yeah.
So we went some places where it wasn't too dangerous, luckily. And that triggered like the fascination for being in moving water and the river, and just getting tossed around was instantly sparked.
Yeah. And how old were you at that time?
I must have been 14 or 15. I'm not sure. But yeah, around that age.
And then you went on to whitewater kayaking.
Yeah. Because apparently floating around on car tubes is not what any sensible person does for a long time.
Well, it's not a recognized sport yet, but it could be.
It should be. It's like a low entry level. It's like, why make things so complicated? Because I don't think I have more fun now than I did back then. So thinking about it, why did I stop inner tubing? But yeah, I did. Anyway, I started high school here in Voss and met a guy called Eirik Øvreide, which soon convinced me that we need to go on this kayak course. And he almost signed us up and said, we're doing it this weekend. And we did, and I struggled and flipped around and swam the whole weekend. I was completely destroyed and exhausted, and went the next Wednesday or what it was and bought all the equipment. This is what I'm doing.
Nice. And you never look back?
Never.
So, how was the life for a kayaker? What does a typical kayaker life look like?
Typical kayaker life can be different, obviously, depending on your life situation. But I think most people have this, like, it takes over. So you're always in your mind thinking about this next expedition or next trip, or how you want to live the summer out of your van or something. It's somewhere in between, like some kind of gypsy and some like outdoor enthusiasts, where you go out and camp a lot, but you're constantly around in these car parks and hanging out where nobody else is. You're cold and wet, but not miserable all the time. And
yeah, that's a good point. That cold and wet, but not miserable. Yeah. So what is it that you enjoy the most about kayaking?
Yeah, it's I don't know. I guess it's the same. Like, it's that inner tube feeling. You're getting tossed around by the river. And it's what at good times is the best thing about kayaking. And when if you're somehow not feeling it, if you're in a bad state of mind or something that is not right, that's also maybe the worst about kayaking.
Yeah.
It's the lack of control, maybe.
Yeah. That sounds scary.
Yeah, it is sometimes.
Yeah.
But also amazing when you think that, but I'll be fine. Just relax, go with the flow. It's really good.
Yeah. Have you ever set out on the river and thinking, oh shit, I shouldn't have done this?
Probably. I was trying to come up with some example right now, but good question. Can't think of it, but I must have.
Yeah. So I think many people look at kayaking and think that it is a really like dangerous sport. What is your perception on that?
Yeah, it's probably correct. You shouldn't play around. No, yes and no. I think it's a very obvious dangerous sport because what you see is kind of what you get. You see this inferno of moving water and rocks and just it's obviously dangerous to some extent. Like it's hard to control, or it takes a lot of practice to control. And if you don't, it's dangerous to be underwater for a long time. Yeah. So yeah, it's there, but it's not something that's. I think it's a sport where you get surprised on how well things go and how good it is, how friendly the river is, more than the other way around. Okay. Whereas some other sports, I think typically I picture at least mountain biking, a sport where everybody feels like, this is not so bad. Everybody knows biking, it's calm. If you push your brakes and stop, everything stops. Yeah. And it's all good until that moment where your tire slips and then all of a sudden you're head first in a tree or... Yeah. Trees are really hard. They're very brutal. Whereas in kayaking, you can so many times stand and look terrified into something, and then maybe you decide, well, fuck it, I'm gonna give it a go. And you paddle, and then you fuck up exactly what you thought I shouldn't fuck up. And you're like, oh my God, I'm dying. And then you get tumble around in a relatively soft washing machine for 2 seconds, and then you pop out, roll up, and, well, no consequences there again. Yeah. So it's a friendly sport in a way. Like it looks insanely dangerous, and obviously it can be. Yeah. But I think people a lot of times get surprised if you manage to relax how well things end. Yeah. But what can people do to like minimize the risk when kayaking? Because do you do anything to like train yourself for those dangerous situations, or is it something that builds up with experience? Yeah, I guess in a way, I wish I did more to train myself. You could obviously train your ability to hold your breath, and that would make a big difference, because a lot of times when you end up in a dangerous situation, it's a matter of maybe it was 10 seconds too much underwater. Yeah. And it would have been fine in a way. So if you have an ability to hold your breath longer, that could help. Yeah. Same also with rescue techniques. There's a lot of techniques you can use to rescue yourself or get your friends out quick before things go bad. So yeah, I do that, and I know a lot of people do that. But I also feel that when we talk about it now, that I always wish I did more of that, because you're a lot of the time out and consumed with just enjoying. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to think back and I should have done more about that, but it's hard. Same now in winter. I think a lot of people probably could say that, I should have probably practiced my searching and my beacon and how to dig. But when it comes to it, it's like, more tempting to go and ski. Yeah, right. Yeah, but kayakers are in general pretty safety-minded, right? I think so. Yeah. Isn't there like an unwritten rule that you should never kayak alone? And you're almost always in groups, right? Yeah, that's true. Yeah. That being said, it is also a thing of solo kayaking, which is highly respected and also highly disputed whether it's a good thing. But I think there's a thing where people go out and they take some kind of, you take an enjoyment of having to deal with stuff on your own. Yeah. But that being said, it's a very uncommon thing. And when I go skiing with kayakers, I notice that people are very safety minded, or they're oriented towards the group. Because on the river, the way it works, you go paddling and you're constantly catching some eddy, checking that your mates come down the eddy before you continue.
Yeah.
And you stop, and maybe without talking about it, you know that this guy runs out, and he or she sets up safety at the bottom with some ropes. And so when you go skiing, then you can come down, and if you're not with kayakers, then on a powder day, it's
every man for themselves.
Yeah, woohoo! And then you come down to the bottom of the lift, and like, where's Johnny? Well, I don't know. Well, okay, next run. Whereas if you're kayaker, somebody would stop halfway down and just like do a quick group check, and then that's my experience at least.
Yeah, I think that's a good thing.
I think so.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been kayaking for so long. Do you do any other extreme sports or sports in general?
Yeah, quite a bit of rhythmical sports gymnastics, if that's what you call it.
Yeah.
That's a joke.
I was like trying to picture it by holding my face like, okay.
Yeah, there's a small twitch in your face there.
Yeah, I was like, because I pictured that little wand with the silk thread. I was like, is he waving that around here? And where is he doing that in Voss?
Actually, to be honest, last year and also this year, 2 years ago and this year, I'll be attending lessons in modern dancing.
Really?
Yeah, but on the most basic beginner level, probably. That would make somebody with dance experience like yourself have enjoyment for hours, I guess.
Well, I mean, modern dance is really hard. My girlfriend is a modern dancer, and she would pretty easily laugh at me if I tried anything. Yeah. But why are you doing that?
Good question. Because it sounded like something fun and interesting.
Nice.
And dancing is definitely something that I suck at. And I guess I have a very like instrumental view on it, that I'm not so smooth and relaxed in stuff I do. I'm quite strong and have
muscle through things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I figured in order to be a better kayaker, basically, I should be able to get in touch with my inner flow.
Yeah, that sounds good, but it's actually really smart. I had a friend who died a couple of years ago, Alexander Dalouan, the swimmer, and he did ballet and gymnastics to become a better swimmer. Yeah. So it's I think it's really important to do other stuff to be better in your own sport. Yeah. Yeah. So, but you're also getting ready for Bulla Bini Boogie this summer, right?
Yeah.
So you're going to see you do some modern dance on the dance floor?
Well, now that I said the word, I'm going to just freeze in, what's the word? Stage fair, or I don't know.
Well, that depends. Depends on who's in the bar.
Yeah, true. But I'm going to see you there somewhere. It's like, oh my God, I can't fuck this up now. He knows a modern dancer.
Yeah. Well, the thing about being a breakdancer is that every time there's a dance circle, people call you out. Yeah, that's a professional dancer. Come on, you have to dance. I'm like, actually, the worst thing I know is to dance at parties. Because I do it all the time. I go to training like several hours a day. I do shows. I do theater performances. And when I'm at a party, I like to talk to people and just hang out and listen to music. Yeah. And people are like, hey, come on, you should dance. I'm like, oh, please don't. I'm not a party dancer. But it's a strange thing.
Yeah, but you still do it sometimes.
Sometimes. The last time I danced at a party, I think, was when I battled Axel Henny in breakdancing at the Bulla Bini Boogie party.
At Veko.
Yes, and my shoes have never been that dirty. I mean, I was filled with mud up to my knees. Because he was starting to do the robot just for fun, and people were like, oh, I should battle him. I was like, okay, it's on. And he's an old breakdancer as well. So he knows the moves.
So it turned out to be a long battle before anybody was claimed.
Yeah, I don't know who was the crowned king that night, but I think I got him.
Yeah, I was about to say I would be surprised if not.
The thing is that when you drink and dance, you always do something stupid. Like you can see at concerts people like trying to do backflips and landing on their necks. That's a classic one. But the worst thing I ever did was I did a head spin on gravel with no beanie or hat or anything. I mean, the sand stuck in my scalp for like weeks. So that sucked.
Yeah, that's not, but drunk, so you noticed the day after.
Yeah. But it was a really good head spin though.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had some, I asked a little bit around about you because you have to do some research, right?
Shit.
So one of the common
Who
things.
did you ask?
I can tell.
Okay.
I don't give up my sources,
No.
but I think you'll understand who it is.
Okay.
You're notorious for being late.
Julian.
It wasn't only Julian. It was several people.
Yeah,
but
okay.
so, what is your relationship with time?
Yeah, I guess I had a friend of mine once pointed it out to me that now I understand why we're always frustrated with you and time, because we were going to go out surfing in Hoddevik one winter, and he said, yeah, so how long are we going to stay in for? And I was like, I guess 2-3 hours. 2-3 hours. That's like, oh, I don't know if I can stay in that long. It's going to be really cold. Yeah. And I said, well, what feels like 2-3 hours? I said. Yeah. I didn't mean any like specific time thing. So he's like, experience time. So maybe that's the thing. I think partly that, and also getting lost in the moment, I think is a big deal. So we're here doing this now, and I could easily get absorbed with it, so that if you didn't say anything, I would be running late for the classes that I'm teaching later. So the struggles are real, and it frustrates people a lot, and I'm trying to get better at it. But I'm also thinking there is a value to not organizing your life as a train schedule, right? Yeah. There are certain things that you have to treat like a train schedule, like train schedules, for example. Yeah. So
that's a good point.
I've missed my flight to go down to we were doing the World Championships in kayaking several years in Austria. Yeah. And I think I missed my flight going there once or twice. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's pretty good or pretty bad.
Yeah. No, but it's an accomplishment missing that flight, because that's a big trip.
It is a big trip, yeah. I even missed my flight coming home from Canada one year. So yeah, but those things I realize are important, and sometimes when you meet up with people, like when you're a teacher, you're setting an example, and so I'm pretty focused on being on time there, and I'm
at least doing your best.
Yeah, I think that's going well, I would say.
But I think it's a good thing, though.
What? To be late?
I think people should be more like you in that sense, because I think today people are really focused on doing, myself included, doing like a million things, wanting to go here and there and there and make this and that, and sometimes you forget to live because you have so many plans and things to do. So sometimes it's so nice just like being in a moment and playing and just like freestyling a little bit, not having a plan. Yeah. Even though there is a plan, you just go off script and just like, okay, so this felt good. Let's do this for a half hour more. Instead of like, it's like I have a daughter, and the worst thing you can do is if she plays by herself and you take her out of that game, right? She gets so mad, she get angry for at least a little while after, and she's like, what'd you have to do this now? So it's like, well, maybe it wasn't that important. So sometimes I think it's a good thing to be late.
Yeah, I think so. But that being said, I'm also just the same. Like, I get a million things to do, and it's not going well all the time. And yeah. But there's something there.
I think so. And I think there's I've been asking a lot of people on the podcast about, I think it's almost a similar thing. It's like in almost all extreme sports, you have, especially in kayaking or in going over big rapids, you have the point of no return, right? And I asked Jamie Sutton about this too. Like, what do you feel about the point of no return? Right? Because there's a lot of, once you have to do something that requires skill, guts, risk assessment, and stuff like that, there is a point of no return, and there's a point you just have to say fuck it. And the common thing about with all the people I talk to, even if it's like base jumpers or skydivers or kayakers or longboarders or whatever, is that once you're in that moment, everything else falls away. And I think that's a really interesting thing about people who do sports and extreme sport, the ability to focus like 200% on something. And I think it's really good for the mind as well, being able to like zone out and it's like, okay, this is what we're doing, and it's the only thing that matters right now. And I think that's why once you start doing extreme sport, I think that's one of the things that like maybe you're not thinking about it, but I think that's definitely one of the like subconscious things that draws you back to the sport, is that feeling you get when you can shut everything out. I think that's important for a lot of people without them actually knowing it too. So, but what is your thought on like the point of no return?
No return, yeah, it's the same feeling. I was about to say it's like everything's silent, like everything just disappears. It's only one thing to focus on, really, and it's kind of impossible to be anywhere else. So it's a relief. It's a feeling of freedom. It's because at that point you probably, if it's a big rapid, for example, you've probably spent quite a bit of time deciding how to do it, or even whether you're gonna do it or not. And all of that is kind of a stressful like thought process, and you're a bit like in and out of your head, and then you leave the eddy, and you quite soon just are just in your I don't know, in your stomach, in a way, in your body. It's the thoughts kind of disappear. And it's,
you somehow have to like surrender to the river and the forces. Just
and quiet. Everything's quiet. Yeah, in a way.
Really?
Yeah. Or at least I feel that way, because I probably have a very overactive head in a way. So a big challenge for me in life is to silence my inner dialogue sometimes. That happens.
Yeah. And kayaking is probably pretty good for you.
So
how often do you go kayaking when there's not frozen rivers?
When it's not frozen rivers, I ask myself the same. How often do I go kayaking, and do I do it enough? But yeah, most days. But a lot of, at least the last few years, a lot of the time on the river I've spent in my slalom kayak, which is training on quite easy rivers with gates, and to build up technique that I felt that I needed, or to build physical technique. So, but yeah, some way in the kayak, most days.
Yeah,
6 out of 7 days maybe.
Well, that's pretty good.
It's really good. I'm very lucky to, because I live in Voss. I could get on my bike to the slalom course that we have in 10 minutes, have an hour session, and then bike home.
Yeah, then it doesn't take much.
No.
Yeah, that's sometimes I really wish I lived in Voss, because I really love skydiving, and when there's season, and you have 2 kids, then you have to deliver in kindergarten, ride 1.5 hours to Voss in the car, get like 3-4 jumps, and then like rush back home to pick up the kids. So sometimes it would be really nice to have a place here. Yeah.
But couldn't you skydive in Bergen? Or?
Nah, it's not the same as Voss.
There is a skydive club in Bergen.
There is, but I've been skydiving since 2013, and I recently, like last summer, like actually thought about jumping in Bergen, because I think they only jump in the weekends and one weekday, and well, Voss is like, they have a big plane. In Bergen, they have like 3 seats or 5 seats. There's a pretty small plane, but they jump all year around. But I don't want to do that. It's too cold. Yeah, then you have to like leave the airplane. It's like 40 minus degrees. You have to put your arms behind your ass, and it's like, okay, I hope this ends soon. And then you open your parachute, and it's freaking cold. And yeah, so I like jumping with like shorts and t-shirt and
freedom.
Yeah, and warm.
Yeah,
that feels pretty good. But you're also involved in politics.
True.
In Voss.
Mm.
So in what shape or form is that?
The round shape of no, in a more sharp shape, I think.
Yeah.
I'm what we call a kommunestyrerepresentant in Norwegian, which is elected into the local the municipality board.
Yeah.
That makes sense in English, right?
I think so.
Yeah. So each town has their own little local parliament, sort of, which has a few things that we can decide over. The big state wants to have most things for themselves, but so I'm there now for the third period, as they say.
Yeah.
So been in that for 10 years.
Yeah, but what made you start politics?
I think it was quite easy. It was the protection of the river here in Voss.
Yeah.
Or in general, like I as I started kayaking, I got very involved with saving rivers because I knew it was such a important thing for me personally.
Yeah.
But then as you kind of develop that personal love and interest, then you also develop the perspective of how, what do you call it? Like untouched nature is important in the bigger picture. And sort of that was important to my whole worldview, I guess.
Yeah.
And in Norway, we have a protection plan for rivers, which was developed in the, let's say, 70s and 80s a lot, which is like a safety net to make sure that everything is not lost to hydropower.
Yeah.
And then in Norway, in Voss, 10 years ago, they started lobbying to take one of our rivers out of this protection plan and kind of watering out the whole system there. And to me, that was...
Which river was that?
Raundalselva.
Really?
The one that flows through Bømoen past the skydive.
Yeah, I have. I've gone rafting there.
It's amazing.
I mean, it doesn't look like... It looks like a place from Avatar or something like that. It's an amazing place, and I think it's one of the most beautiful places in the world. Yeah. Like, for sure, the turquoise water and the rock formations are, like, really special.
Do you know why you have that special color?
No, tell me.
So that's a fun thing that I discovered talking to a geologist friend of mine the other day. There's a type of rock called anorthosite, I think, if I pronounce it correctly. Yeah. It's white, at least the one that's located here, up in Mjølfjell, at the top of the river. And that's completely white, and it washes down the whole river, basically, and you'll have this white rock settled in a lot of places. Yeah. So as the sunshine kind of goes into the water, it reflects a lot back out. So you get this feeling of the river being illuminated from within. Nice. Which is kind of not far from the truth. Yeah.
Wow. Well, that river is so beautiful.
It's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So there were people who wanted to exploit that river.
Yeah. I mean,
Then you came in and
I said, fuck this shit. Well, it was a lot of us who did lobbying to save the river. Yeah. And then after that, one of the parties that had been very strongly involved in saving the river asked if I could, or if I would join and be on the list for the party and help kind of, I think nature preservation is the big thing for me. So do that from within politics as well. So I said, I said yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's, I think it's good that people from the community take action and just like step out and say, we're not having this. And because if you're not part of the discussion, it's, you're just standing on the outside screaming and shouting, right? But if you actually have a spot on the board, then you actually have a voice.
And now it's me there, and Andreas from the Skydive Club is also part of the politics.
Yeah, because there was a case with Bømoen where they wanted to didn't they want to stop air sports or like skydiving activity there?
Yeah, I think so. I think if I understand correctly, there was a suggestion that you could, or an idea maybe, that you could use that area for other purposes of some kind of business, making money. So.
Yeah, but it's strange because Sometimes I'm like, it gets lost on me on why people don't understand how important extreme sport is for us. It's like a world capital for extreme sport. In like every extreme sport, you can do whatever sport you want here almost. And now it's even become a paradise for people who go ice swimming. Yeah. That's become a thing in Voss.
It has. A lot of people.
Do you know Arne Haugland, the death diver? He's also a skydiver. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Or I
You know of him, yeah.
I know of him.
Yeah, I was talking to him yesterday, and a year ago, he made a video on Svalbard where there was these sheets of ice. He made a hole and another hole, and he was running on the ice sheets, dove in, and then swam under the ice and up again, like probably 50 meters further away, right?
How,
15.
15, okay.
Yeah, so it was not too far, but it was like, it looked so insane. And that video took off and had like, I don't know, 250 million views worldwide. It's insane. And he was on like Good Morning America, and like it was a really big thing. And for some reason, ice swimming has really taken off. I don't want to give him credit for all the ice swimming in the world, but for some reason, people like really took to ice swimming like the last 6 months. And he was like, I was talking to him yesterday because we're sharing off. He's like, fuck it, I don't want to do ice swimming anymore. I was really on top of it, but not everybody's doing it. It really sucks. I want to have it to myself.
Too mainstream.
Too mainstream. And I was like, yeah, they set a new world record for like, I don't know if it's 50 or 100 meters.
Underwater.
Under ice.
Under ice, yeah.
I'm like, oh, that sounds too scary, man.
Yeah, that's...
He had an episode, actually, where he made a hole, and he was supposed to swim under, and he's a big, strong guy, right? And he swam under, and the ice was frozen. And he was like, for 2 seconds, he was like, oh, fuck. And he panicked and tried to punch his hand through the ice, but nothing happened, right? So then I think he actually had to swim further in, and then he somehow managed to like get through another hole. But that was pretty close to not making it.
But he had made a hole. That wasn't...
He made a hole.
But it froze again?
I think it froze, or he found the wrong... found the wrong hole. Well, yeah, but that was like probably 5 centimeters of like hard ice.
Yeah.
So it can get scary. It gets scary pretty fast.
Yeah. I've thought about like, not that I've thought about actually doing that stuff, but I picture how that must be, swimming under ice, and that what you're explaining there is just...
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty hard to look underwater when you're swimming in the summer, right?
Yeah.
It's not the same as wearing goggles. It's like everything is like blurry and muddy, and when it's like 0 degrees in the water and freezing cold, your mind plays tricks on you as well, right? So then if you for some reason can't find the hole you're supposed to go get air from, that gets pretty scary pretty fast.
And I heard it's like the optics or the visual of how the ice and the hole looks can be confusing, somebody said, but I have no idea.
Yeah, I asked him about safety. I'm like, so what do you have someone with you, right? Yeah, I have someone with me. If I'm for some reason don't come up within 15 seconds, they put a stick in the hole I came from. I'm like, that's it? They put
so that he can see where he came from.
So that he can sort of like see where he came from and then swim back and up. But it's gnarly.
Yeah. Okay. Well, interesting.
Interesting. Also heard that you were a coffee guy.
Yeah.
So in what shape or form? Are you making your own coffee?
Yeah. Been trying to take every part of the process, if you can say it like that.
Yeah.
But I guess what I mostly do is that I really enjoy I'm specific about what I enjoy.
Yeah.
My coffee. So I have my own little corner in the kitchen where I grind and brew in different types and forms.
Nice. Are you into that cat poop coffee?
Nah.
You heard of that, right?
I heard about that,
yeah. Supposed to be the world's best.
Yeah. And I remember I saw that once that they had it on the menu in Bergen on, what's it called? That little place down by Vektertorget.
Oh, that's a good. I can't remember.
Wienerbrød, was it?
Yeah, Wienerbrød, yeah.
Yeah. So I went there. There was a place that I hung out a few times when I lived in Bergen. And I saw they had this on the menu.
Kopi Luwak, isn't it? I think so.
Sounds
something like
something
that.
like that. Yeah. And I thought, wow, okay, this is the shit I've been hearing about. So should try it.
Literally.
This is the shit.
Yeah.
And it probably cost 100 kroners for a cup or something insane.
Yeah.
But I ordered it and I was quite disappointed. But I was trying to think like this, it tasted like beans that were roasted way too long ago and it was too old, which I figured could also be reasonable to expect for such an exclusive, expensive stuff that they might not have the newest form. So I don't know. Maybe it's really good if you get it fresh. And
there's I think there's a fine line between like having really high quality good stuff and then somebody like goes way too far. Like, this is the shit.
Yeah.
Have you heard about that Big Toe whiskey?
No.
There's a place in the States where they have something called like I think it's like, how do you say it's crazy. They actually have a human toe in the whiskey. So they have some sort of deal. I don't know how they get allowed, but it's a thing if you Google it, where they cut a human big toe from somebody who died and they like dehydrate it. So just like this little thing. And they're supposed to drink a glass of whiskey with that in. And that's like an accomplishment. And it's, I don't know if I do it, but I think that's an example of like people taking shit too far.
Too far, yeah. And it's just, I don't know what it is. But it's something, the whole symbolic thing of everything is the thing.
Yeah.
But now I don't think, I'm trying not to go too far on things just being special for the sake of it being special. Yeah. But I had this revelation, I think, when I was back in Bergen also, when I lived there. We went a couple of guys training, and then we would go after training, we would have a coffee, and then we'd go to study. That was like a daily routine we had. It's really nice.
Oh, it's so nice. Before this COVID shit hit the fan, I had a really nice routine. I woke up, kids in the kindergarten, went to a coffee shop, got a cup of coffee, wrote some emails, and then I went to jiu-jitsu practice. Trained for 3 hours and then started the day. That was like the routine. So when there was no jiu-jitsu, no coffee, no kindergarten, that was like a madman place for like 5 weeks of lockdown.
Breakdown of life.
Yeah. So after a couple of days, I started like going into this YouTube rabbit hole of like how to steam milk for myself, how to grind beans. So I bought a espresso machine and a steamer and everything. So I just started making coffee myself. So I'm like a hobby barista now.
Okay, yeah. So we share this interest.
Yeah, I never. It's like coffee and sushi was two things I never thought I would love, but now it's like it's a constant craving for good coffee and good sushi.
And what is your favorite coffee? All right, that's a hard question, but if you were to pick on the top of your mind,
it is. It's hard, but I like a good strong espresso. Yeah, like medium roast. Yeah, I think that's your. I'm not too deep into it, but like a good strong one in the morning. And I also really enjoy. And people are gonna hate me for this, but I love coffee mocha. How do you say that in English? Mocha. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't drink that shit.
Yeah.
But
it's like a good coffee, but just a hint of chocolate. It's like, the best world is like half cocoa and half coffee. That's pretty nice.
It is tasty. It is.
Yeah. All right. So we really should talk about this before we run off. I know you have, I know you want to try to not be late today. But you and Julian and what was the name of the girl who also was part of starting Kayak Voss?
Nicole.
Nicole, yeah.
Dubé, or we should refer to her as Nicole Duby.
Yeah. All right. All right. So that was in 2010.
Yeah.
That was 11 years ago. And what made you start Kayak Voss?
Julian, I guess. Yeah. Well, yeah, good question. What happened there? It was kind of random back then, and I think Julian is a good answer to that thing. What was the case? I was studying Bergen and was in Voss in summer times, just cruising around, helping to keep the kayak shop here open. That has been there for a few years. And then he said, we should start a business where we do tandem kayaking because nobody does that in Europe. And he's been to Africa a few times where they did tandem kayak on the Nile.
Yeah.
So we started that business. I drove to Sweden, picked up 2 tandem kayaks, ran out of gas on the way home in the middle of the night. Julian came and gave me a liter of petrol, and we got there. So we started tandem kayaking with people, and gradually it grew.
Is that a thing that people do now?
It's more and more businesses around Europe that has that as part of their offer.
Yeah.
And it has been a thing on the Veko videos.
I've seen that.
Borrowed the tandem kayaks to different people that have done a few stunts. So I don't know. It's not a big thing, but it is.
Is that like?
It's really fun.
Is that in the same world of tandem skydiving? So people with no experience can hang on with you and go down the river?
Yeah, it is. And it was the same idea that this would be the equivalent to what the Skydive Club does.
Yeah.
I guess part of the issue was that to figure this out from scratch, because nobody was doing this, we kind of had to figure out exactly how to operate it in a commercial way. And I guess what it turned out is that it's more demanding to do because you're never fully in control and predicting exactly what's happening. As my view of tandem skydiving is it's quite like you know exactly how the procedure will be.
Yeah.
There's not too many surprises.
Yeah.
Whereas in kayaking in general, the river is quite unpredictable.
It's probably like skydiving into a storm with a guy strapped on your belly.
Yeah, something maybe. Yeah, I don't know. I have done one tandem skydive and it was amazing, but it felt like that was all more like quite structured in a way.
Yeah, I think it is. I think tandem skydiving is pretty like easy and accessible for everybody. Just put a harness on, go with an experienced skydiver, jump out. And you didn't used to have that before, but now they have something called a drogue, which is like a mini parachute. Then once they jump out, they pull the drogue, which is like a mini parachute that like it's like a brake. So you don't go too fast down, and then people can be more stable. But they didn't used to have that, so it was more rogue before. Yeah. So
I guess kayaking is at that stage where there's no like, it's kind of like a little bit wilder in a way.
It sounds pretty dangerous. I don't know if I do that.
It's not so dangerous, but it is scary, I think.
Yeah.
So, but we're figuring it out, and I think more and more people have been picking up on it lately. So that's cool. But anyway, like we quickly realized that was not gonna be the big moneymaker. So started doing more of the classical courses and teaching people.
Do you still do that?
Yeah, still do that.
Yeah. Is there a lot of activity in the summertime or spring or?
Yeah, for a short period in summertime, there's quite a lot of activity.
Yeah.
So, but now right now we're working with maybe we can join forces with the kayak club here because it seems like there's too many people, too many actors. So I'm hoping that we can gather up at least for the coursing parts and have more of everybody pulling in the same direction.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I think that's a good thing. There's like. You go in the same rivers, there's risk involved, many people. You can probably quickly lose track of how many people is in the river, and then someone from another group comes into your group. And
true, that's also something, but also just the fact of having one place where all the teaching is happening and all the instructors can be coordinated together. A lot of things. I think the Skydive Club does an amazing job in creating a community.
Yeah, I think
that would be good to have here.
Yeah, and their courses is becoming really good, and there's full courses like every week, all summer. And I think last year we did a record for most amount of skydives ever at Kayak Voss, even though there was a lockdown and the season ended. And it started way late.
Yeah.
So I was so scared. Sitting at home in lockdown was like, are we not gonna jump this season? Is there going to be no skydiving? Because that's the thing, right? Because it takes a small village to skydive. You have to have like a plane, a pilot, You have to have people overlooking the drop zone, and there's a lot of people involved just for you to have that 45 seconds. But sometimes it would be nice to be a base jumper, just putting on a rig, hike up, jump.
Be your own master more.
Yeah. Actually, people have started tandem base jumping.
Really?
Yeah, in Italy. There's a small group for now that does tandem base jumping. And I think that sounds dangerous.
Yeah, what do you reckon? Dangerous?
I'd rather do it myself.
Yeah.
Solo. Then if you're going base jumping, then you have to go yourself. I don't think like tandem base jumping should be a thing.
No?
I don't think so.
No,
it's so dangerous.
Yeah, I guess so. I have very little knowledge about that sport, but I thought like if you just jumped off without doing anything crazy stunt, but just like go to the edge, jump off, that it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, but the thing is that you only have one parachute, so if anything happens, then you don't have a reserve. And also, if you jump out and the parachute for some reason get a twin or not, I don't know. You get rotated, right? Twin. You don't get a twin brother, but if the parachute opens in a different angle, then you...
A twist.
Yeah, a line twist, right? So you can open with a line twist if you have a bad body position when opening, and that can definitely happen on a tandem, since you have to control two people instead of one. And if you then jump out, you're just a couple of meters from the wall, and then the parachute turns, and you smack into the wall like every meter down, and then it collapses, and you fall to the... Black Death.
True. And this is, I think, thinking about it, this sounds like an interesting mathematical, not equation, but thing. So if you have a parachute and the chances of failure on any given opening is 1 to, I don't know, 10,000 maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
Let's just guess.
Yeah.
So if you then have 2 chances in a way, then it's not twice as safe, but it's 10,000 times as safe, isn't it? Because you will have to, the chances of both failing is 1 to 10,000 times 10,000.
Yeah, it sounds correct, but this sounds very bro science to me.
Yeah. No, but I was thinking about it last year because I have another little passion is skiing.
Yeah.
And we were trying to like set up safety for doing a little rappel. And then we're talking about setting anchors. And then we're like, oh yeah, putting up 2 anchors. That's good because that's twice as safe. And then we're like, nah, can't be. And then we started, this is probably common knowledge to all climbers and maybe to jumpers as well. But if you set up 2 points and they have each a chance of 1/5 of going, then both going at the same time would be 1 to 25.
Yeah.
Right?
It sounds right.
If the listeners have any input on this one, send it to Kjetil at ekstremsportveko.com. Right?
Yeah. But it sounds correct. And I think skydiving is really safe if you compare it to base jumping.
And that's the thing in kayaking, you don't have that, like, there's no, well, there is some backup with safety and ropes and stuff, but you don't have those standard procedures, so it's a little bit more of a,
Yeah. I've seen some big wave surfers have these vests that inflate, that pull you to the surface. Is that a thing that could be implemented in kayaking?
Yeah, I think people have tried a few, like, things. One of them is thinking about this one. The other one is to have like I don't know what you call it, but a spare breath, basically. So a little
like an oxygen tank, a small one
in the vest, so you can pull up and you can have maybe 5 breaths in that one.
Yeah,
that would make a big difference. There's been, but nothing is really established now. So it's
and you got a few new business ideas.
Yeah, I don't know.
Spare breath by Kayak Voss. Sounds good.
It sounds good, but back to the whole thing of not having 10,000 things to do, but more time to enjoy life. So
yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have anything, any famous last words you want to add before we round this quick and dirty podcast up?
Yeah. I would recommend everybody to tune into this podcast and also the Flow Job podcast, which is released by Julian Stocker in a few weeks, I think.
Nice. We're going to pay attention to that. Flow job. Sounds like...
Sounds good. It's better than no job.
Yeah, that's true. All right, Dag Sandvik, thank you for your time. Hopefully you're not late today, and looking forward to catching you some more time.
Yeah, what's the time now?
It is 11:30, so it's time to go.
Perfect. Okay,
all right.
Thanks.
Peace.